Welcome to my channel. My dear students, let me start with something very surprising that will immediately catch your attention. Have you ever seen how a lawyer speaks and suddenly the entire room becomes silent? People stop talking, they start listening, and they take every word seriously. Why does this happen? Is it because lawyers know everything? No. It is because they know how to speak. Yes, the real power is not in knowledge alone. It is in the way you express your thoughts. Imagine if you could speak with that same clarity, that same confidence, that same control. Imagine people listening to you carefully, respecting your words, and valuing your ideas. This is not a dream. This is a skill. And today, I am going to teach you how to build this skill step by step. So stay with me till the end, because what you are about to learn can completely change the way you speak and the way people see you. Chapter 1. My dear students, before you try to speak like a lawyer, you must first understand what it truly means. Many people have a wrong idea in their mind. They think that speaking like a lawyer means using very difficult words, very long sentences, or very complex English. They believe that only highly educated people or people from law background can speak like this. But let me tell you something very important and very honest. This is not true. Speaking like a lawyer is not about complexity. It is about clarity. It is not about showing how much you know. It is about showing how clearly you can express what you know. This is the first mindset shift you must develop. A lawyer is powerful not because they use complicated language. A lawyer is powerful because they make their message simple, clear, and structured. When a lawyer speaks, the listener does not feel confused. The listener feels guided. The listener understands every step. This is why people trust lawyers when they speak. They do not speak randomly. They do not mix ideas. They do not jump from one thought to another without direction. They move step by step. They take one idea, explain it clearly, and then move to the next idea. This creates a flow. This creates understanding, and this creates impact. Now I want you to think about your own speaking. Be honest with yourself. Many times you have ideas in your mind, but when you start speaking, something goes wrong. You may start fast. You may forget what you wanted to say. You may add too many unnecessary words. You may repeat the same idea again and again. Or sometimes, you may stop in the middle because you are not sure how to continue. This is very normal. Do not feel bad about it. Every learner goes through this stage. But here's the important point. This happens not because you are weak in English. This happens because your thinking is not organized yet. Speaking clearly always begins with thinking clearly. If your mind is confused, your words will also be confused. But if your mind is clear, your words will become clear automatically. Lawyers train their mind before they train their speech. They do not open their mouth immediately. They take a small moment. They think about their main idea. They decide what they want to say. And then they express it in a simple and structured way. This is the habit you must start building from today. Let me give you a simple method that you can start using immediately. Before you speak, pause for a second. Just 1 second. In that second, ask yourself one question. What is my main idea? Not 5 ideas, not 10 ideas, just one idea. When you find that one idea, speak it in a simple sentence. Do not try to make it perfect, just make it clear. For example, instead of saying a long and confusing sentence, you can say, I want to explain this point clearly. Then you explain it step by step. This small habit will completely change your speaking. Another important thing you must understand is that clarity builds confidence. Many students think confidence comes first and clarity comes later. But in reality, clarity comes first and confidence follows. When your sentence is clear, you feel in control. When you feel in control, your confidence increases. When your confidence increases, your speaking improves. This is a cycle. And it all starts with clarity. Lawyers never try to impress people with difficult words. They try to impress people with clear thinking. They know that if the listener does not understand, the message is useless. So their goal is not to sound smart. Their goal is to be understood. This is a very powerful lesson. Stop trying to sound impressive. Start trying to be understood. When people understand you easily, they automatically respect you more. You must also learn to remove unnecessary pressure from your mind. Many learners feel that they must speak perfectly. They feel that every sentence must be grammatically perfect. This pressure creates fear, and fear blocks your natural speaking ability. Lawyers do not think about perfection while speaking. They focus on clarity and purpose. You should do the same. Focus on delivering your idea clearly. Do not worry too much about small mistakes. Clarity is more important than perfection. Let us talk about structure in a very simple way. A clear speaker always follows a simple path. First, they introduce the idea. Second, they explain the idea. Third, they close the idea. This is a natural structure. You can use it in any situation. Whether you are answering a question in class, speaking with a friend, or giving your opinion, this structure will help you stay organized. Lawyers use this structure all the time. This is why their speech feels complete and satisfying. Another powerful habit you must develop is speaking one idea at a time. Do not try to say everything in one sentence. This creates confusion. Break your thoughts into small parts. Speak slowly. Give space between your ideas. This makes your speech easier to understand. It also gives your listener time to follow you. Remember, communication is not about speed. It is about understanding. Now let me give you a strong realization moment. Speaking like a lawyer is not something far away from you. It is not something only special people can do. It is something you can build step by step. You already have thoughts in your mind. You already have ideas. All you need to do is organize them and express them clearly. This is a skill, and like every skill, it improves with practice. From today, start observing your own speech. Notice when you become unclear. Notice when you speak too fast. Notice when you add unnecessary words. Awareness is the first step of improvement. When you become aware of your mistakes, you automatically start correcting them. This is how growth begins. My dear students, this chapter is not about doing something difficult. It is about understanding something simple but powerful. Stop trying to sound complicated. Start trying to sound clear. Train your mind to think in one idea at a time. Train your speech to express that idea simply and directly. This is the foundation of speaking like a lawyer. Once you build this foundation, everything else becomes easier. Your sentences become stronger. Your voice becomes more confident. Your ideas become more organized. And slowly, people will start noticing a change in you. They will start listening to you more carefully. They will start understanding you more easily. And they will start respecting your words. This is where your transformation begins. Not with difficult vocabulary, not with complex grammar, but with clear thinking and simple expression. This is the real meaning of speaking like a lawyer. And this is the first step of your journey. Chapter 2. My dear students, now we move deeper into the real foundation of speaking like a lawyer, and that is the art of clear and strong sentences. If Chapter 1 was about understanding the mindset, then Chapter 2 is about building the actual skill. Because mindset alone is not enough. You must also learn how to shape your thoughts into powerful sentences. And remember this very important truth. Your sentence is your voice. If your sentence is weak, your voice will sound weak. If your sentence is clear, your voice will sound strong. Let me start with something very simple. A lawyer never speaks in confusion. A lawyer never mixes too many ideas in one sentence. A lawyer never uses unnecessary words that do not add meaning. Instead, a lawyer focuses on one idea at a time. This is the secret of powerful communication. Simplicity creates strength. Clarity creates confidence. Structure creates authority. When your sentence is clean, your message becomes powerful automatically. Now think about how many students speak. Many learners try to say too much in one sentence. They combine different ideas together. They add extra words that are not needed. As a result, the listener becomes confused. And when the listener is confused, your message loses impact. This is why your first goal is to reduce confusion, not increase vocabulary. You do not need long sentences to sound intelligent. You need clear sentences to sound intelligent. Let me show you a simple transformation. Instead of saying, "I was just thinking that maybe we could try to improve this situation in a better way," a lawyer will say, "We should improve this situation." Now look at the difference. The second sentence is short. It is direct. It is clear. It has confidence. There is no confusion. This is the power of strong sentences. You are not reducing meaning. You are increasing impact. One of the biggest mistakes learners make is using filler words. Words like, you know, like, actually, basically, konai, or I mean, weaken your sentence. They show hesitation. They show uncertainty. Lawyers avoid these words because they want their speech to sound firm and controlled. When you remove filler words, your sentence becomes clean. And when your sentence becomes clean, Your confidence increases automatically. Another important habit is breaking long ideas into small parts. Do not try to say everything at once. Speak one idea, then pause, then move to the next idea. This makes your speech easier to understand. It also gives your mind time to stay organized. For example, instead of a long, confusing explanation, you can say, first, this is the problem. Second, this is the reason. Third, this is the solution. This structure is simple but very powerful. Lawyers use this all the time because it keeps the listener focused. Now let us talk about clarity. Clarity is more important than vocabulary. Many students think that using big words will make them sound smart. But in reality, unclear sentences make you sound weak. A strong speaker is not someone who uses difficult English. A strong speaker is someone who is easily understood. If your listener understands you quickly, your communication is successful. If your listener struggles to understand you, your communication fails. You must also learn to think before you speak. This is a very important habit. Do not rush into speaking. Take a small pause in your mind. Decide what you want to say. Then speak it in the simplest form possible. This small pause is what separates confused speakers from confident speakers. Lawyers always think before they speak. This is why their sentences feel controlled and powerful. Let me give you another practical rule. Always prefer short sentences over long sentences. Short sentences are easier to control. They are easier to understand. They are easier to remember. Long sentences often lose direction. When you speak short sentences, your ideas become sharper. Your listener does not get lost. Your message stays strong. Now I want you to understand something very important. Strong sentences are not about grammar perfection. They are about clarity of thought. Even if your English is simple, your communication can still be powerful if your sentences are clear. Do not wait to become perfect. Start using simple sentences today. Improvement comes from practice, not perfection. Another powerful technique is reading your sentence aloud. When you speak your sentence out loud, you can feel whether it is clear or confusing. If it feels heavy or complicated, simplify it. Remove unnecessary words. Make it direct. This habit will train your mind to automatically create better sentences over time. My dear students, remember this deeply. A lawyer does not try to impress people with complexity. A lawyer tries to convince people with clarity. And conviction comes from strong sentences. When your sentence is clear, your idea becomes strong. When your idea becomes strong, your confidence increases. And when your confidence increases, your speaking becomes powerful. So from today, start focusing on your sentences. Do not rush. Do not overload your ideas. Do not use unnecessary words. Speak one idea at a time. Keep your language simple. Keep your message clear. Keep your structure clean. This is how you build strong communication step by step. And slowly, you will notice something powerful happening. People will start understanding you more easily. They will start paying more attention to your words. They will start respecting your communication. Not because you are speaking difficult English, but because you are speaking clear English. This is the true secret of lawyers. Not complexity, but clarity. Not confusion, but structure. Not speed, but control. Master this, and you will take a very big step towards speaking like a lawyer. Chapter 3. My dear students, now we enter a very important stage of your transformation, and that is your voice, your tone, and your pace. If Chapter 2 was about building strong sentences, then Chapter 3 is about delivering those sentences in a powerful way. Because even the best sentence can lose its impact if it is spoken in a weak or careless manner. Lawyers understand this very deeply. They know that words alone are not enough. The way you speak those words decides whether people will listen or ignore you. Let me explain something very simple first. When you speak too fast, your message becomes unclear. Your listener struggles to follow your ideas. Your words start to blend together. And your confidence appears weak even if you are not weak. Fast speaking often comes from nervousness or excitement. Many students think that speaking fast shows fluency, but in reality, it shows lack of control. A lawyer never rushes their speech. They take their time. They speak slowly, clearly, and with purpose. This is what makes their communication powerful. Now think about this carefully. When someone speaks slowly and clearly, you naturally pay more attention to them. Why? Because your brain gets time to process their words. This is why slow and controlled speech feels more powerful. It is not about being slow. It is about being clear. Every word gets space. Every idea gets attention. And every sentence becomes meaningful. Now let us talk about tone. Tone is the emotion behind your voice. It is not what you say, but how you say it. If your tone is unstable, your message becomes weak. If your tone is too emotional, your message becomes less clear. Lawyers use a calm and balanced tone. They do not sound angry or confused. They sound controlled. They sound confident. Even when they are discussing serious matters, their voice remains steady. This stability creates trust. People believe someone who sounds calm and sure. You must learn to control your emotional voice. Do not let fear, excitement, or nervousness take over your speech. When you feel emotional, take a small pause. Breathe slowly, then continue speaking. This small habit can completely change your communication. A controlled tone shows maturity. It shows discipline. It shows that you are thinking before speaking, not reacting without thinking. Now let us talk about one of the most powerful tools in communication, and that is the pause. Many learners are afraid of silence. They feel that if they stop speaking, they will lose attention. But the truth is completely opposite. Silence is powerful. A pause creates impact. A pause gives weight to your words. A pause tells your listener that something important is coming next. Lawyers use pauses very strategically. They do not fill every moment with words. They allow silence to do part of the communication. For example, when you say an important sentence and then stop for a moment, your listener automatically focuses more. That short silence increases attention. It creates curiosity. It adds importance to your message. This is why pauses are not weakness. Pauses are strength. They show that you are in control of your speech and not rushing through it. Another important point is removing filler words. Words like you know, like, or basically weaken your speech. They break your flow. They reduce your confidence. Lawyers avoid these words because they want their speech to sound clean and professional. When you remove filler words, your communication becomes sharp. Your sentences sound complete. Your voice sounds confident. Now let us combine everything. Imagine you speak slowly, with a calm tone, and you use pauses at the right places. Imagine you remove filler words and speak clearly. What will happen? Your entire personality will change. You will sound more confident. You will sound more intelligent. You will sound more in control. This is the transformation you are building step by step. You can practice this in a very simple way. Take a short paragraph and read it aloud slowly. Focus on each word. Pause after every sentence. Then try speaking your own thoughts in the same way. Record your voice and listen carefully. Notice where you are rushing. Notice where you are adding extra words. Then improve it slowly. This practice will train your voice like a professional speaker. My dear students, remember this very important truth. Your voice is not just sound, it is power. It is your identity. It is your presence. When you control your voice, you control your message. And when you control your message, you control your impact on others. Lawyers do not speak randomly. They speak with awareness. They speak with control. They speak with intention. So from today, start slowing down your speech. Start controlling your tone. Start using pauses wisely. Remove unnecessary filler words. Do not rush your sentences. Let your words breathe. Let your ideas settle. Let your message become clear. Because when your speech is calm, controlled, and clear, people will not just hear you. They will listen to you. They will respect your words. And they will remember what you said. This is the true power of speaking like a lawyer. Chapter 4. My dear students, now we come to a very deep and powerful shift in your communication journey. And that is learning to think like a lawyer before you speak like a lawyer. Many people focus only on speaking. They try to improve their words, their sentences, and their pronunciation. But they forget something very important. Speaking starts in the mind. If your thinking is unclear, your speaking will always be unclear. But if your thinking is structured, your speaking will automatically become structured. Lawyers understand this better than anyone. They do not speak first and think later. They think first and then speak with purpose. Let me explain this in a very simple way. When a lawyer receives a question or a situation, they do not immediately start speaking. They pause for a moment. In that moment, their mind organizes the information. They identify the main point. They separate important details from unnecessary ones. Then they decide the order of their answer. Only after this mental process do they begin speaking. This is why their speech feels calm, logical, and powerful. It is not random. It is planned in the mind before it is spoken. Now think about how many learners speak. Most students start speaking immediately without organizing their thoughts. They try to say everything at once. They jump from one idea to another. They repeat themselves. They sometimes forget what they wanted to say. This creates confusion not only for the listener, but also for the speaker. And when your mind is confused, your speech becomes weak. This is why thinking is the real foundation of speaking. If you want to speak like a lawyer, you must train your mind to follow a simple structure. First, identify your main idea. What exactly do you want to say? Second, find 2 or 3 supporting points. Why do you believe this? Third, prepare a simple conclusion. What is your final message? When you organize your thoughts in this way, your speech becomes clear automatically. You do not need to struggle for words because your mind already knows the direction. Another important part of thinking like a lawyer is using logic instead of emotion. This does not mean you should remove emotions completely. It means you should not let emotions control your speech. When people speak emotionally, they often lose structure. They speak too fast. They exaggerate. They become unclear. But when you speak logically, your ideas become stable and easy to follow. Lawyers always rely on reasons, facts, and explanations. They do not depend on feelings alone. They say things like, based on this information, or the reason is, or this leads to. These logical connections make their speech strong. You must also learn the power of sequencing your ideas. Do not speak in a random order. Always create a flow. Start with the main idea, then explain it, then support it, then conclude it. This sequence makes your communication smooth. It helps your listener follow your thoughts step by step. Without structure, even good ideas lose their power. With structure, even simple ideas become strong. Let me give you a very practical method. Before speaking, ask yourself 3 simple questions. What is my main point? What are my reasons? What is my conclusion? If you can answer these 3 questions in your mind, your speech will automatically become organized. This is how lawyers prepare their communication in real time. It may look simple, but it is extremely powerful. Another key point is avoiding mental overload. Many learners try to include too many ideas in one answer. This creates confusion. Instead of being impressive, they become unclear. Remember, clarity is always better than quantity. One clear idea is more powerful than 5 confusing ideas. Lawyers always prefer clarity over complexity. You should do the same. Now let us talk about transition words. These are small words, but they play a very important role in structured thinking. Words like firstly, secondly, therefore, however, as a result, and in conclusion, guide your listener through your thoughts. They act like road signs in communication. They show direction. They show order. When you use these words, your speech becomes easier to understand. It also shows that your thinking is organized. Another important habit is slowing down your mental process. Many people think too fast and speak too fast. But lawyers slow down their thinking before they slow down their speech. They give themselves time to organize ideas internally. This is why they rarely get confused while speaking. You should practice the same. Do not rush your thoughts. Allow your mind to arrange information properly before you express it. My dear students, this chapter is a turning point. Because when you learn to think clearly, everything else becomes easier. Your sentences become more structured. Your tone becomes more controlled. Your vocabulary becomes more precise. Your confidence increases naturally. All of this starts from one simple habit: thinking before speaking. So, from today, do not just focus on words. Focus on thought. Train your mind to identify the main idea first. Train your mind to organize supporting points. Train your mind to create a clear conclusion. Speak in order, not in confusion. Speak with structure, not randomness. Because when your thinking is clear, your speech becomes powerful. When your speech becomes powerful, people start listening to you more carefully. They start understanding you better. And they start respecting your communication. This is the real transformation. This is how you begin to think like a lawyer, and this is how you begin to speak like one. Chapter 5. My dear students, now we enter a very important stage of your communication journey where we combine two powerful skills that lawyers use every single day. And these are smart vocabulary and powerful questioning. Many learners think that vocabulary is about learning very difficult words and using them in every sentence. But this is a misunderstanding. Real vocabulary is not about complexity. Real vocabulary is about precision. It is about choosing the exact word that matches your meaning perfectly. When your words are precise, your communication becomes clear, strong, and professional. Let me explain this in a simple way. If you use weak or general words, your message becomes unclear. For example, if you always say good for everything, your speech becomes repetitive and weak. But if you choose more accurate words like excellent, important, essential, or effective, your message becomes stronger. You are not trying to sound difficult. You are trying to sound accurate. Lawyers always choose the most precise word available because they know that one correct word can carry more meaning than a long explanation. Now think about this carefully. When you speak, you are not just sharing information. You are also shaping how people understand your thoughts. If your vocabulary is weak, your ideas may sound unclear even if they are good. But if your vocabulary is precise, your ideas become sharp and convincing. This is why vocabulary is not just about language. It is about control over meaning. Let me give you a simple transformation. Instead of saying very big problem, a more precise way is serious issue. Instead of saying very small difference, you can say minor difference. Instead of saying, I think it is good, you can say, I believe it is effective. These small improvements make a big difference. They make your communication sound more mature and more thoughtful. But my dear students, vocabulary alone is not enough. You must also learn how to ask powerful questions. Because a lawyer is not only a speaker, a lawyer is also a thinker who asks the right questions at the right time. Questions are one of the strongest tools in communication. A good question can open understanding. A good question can clarify confusion. A good question can reveal truth. And a good question can guide the entire conversation. Now let us understand different types of smart questions. First are clarity questions. These are used when something is not clear. For example, you can ask, "Can you explain that in a simpler way?" Or, "What exactly do you mean by this point?" These questions show that you are paying attention. They also help you understand better. Lawyers use these questions to avoid confusion and ensure accuracy. Second are reasoning questions. These help you understand the logic behind an idea. For example, "Why do you think this is true?" Or, "What is the reason behind this statement?" These questions push the conversation deeper. They move beyond surface-level thinking. Lawyers use these questions to test arguments and understand logic. Third are evidence questions. These are very powerful because they bring truth into the conversation. For example, "What evidence supports this idea?" Or, "How do we know this is correct?" These questions help separate opinion from fact. They make communication more reliable and strong. Lawyers rely heavily on evidence-based questioning. Fourth are exploratory questions. These are used to expand thinking. For example, "Is there another way to look at this?" Or, "What are the possible alternatives?" These questions open new directions in conversation. They show creativity and flexibility. They also help you think beyond one fixed idea. Now you must understand something very important. When you ask smart questions, you do not appear weak. You appear intelligent. Many students think asking questions shows lack of knowledge. But in reality, asking the right questions shows deep thinking. It shows curiosity. It shows confidence. It shows that you are not accepting information blindly. Another important point is that questions help you control conversations. When you ask a question, you guide the direction of the discussion. You shift attention. You focus thinking. Lawyers use this technique all the time. They ask questions not just to get answers, but to structure understanding. Now let us combine vocabulary and questioning together. Imagine you use precise words and also ask intelligent questions. Your communication becomes very powerful. You are not just speaking. You are analyzing. You are not just expressing. You are exploring. This is the mindset of a lawyer. For example, instead of saying something vague like, "This is not good," you can say, "This approach seems ineffective. What is the reason behind it?" Now your sentence is precise, and your question is powerful. This combination shows clarity and intelligence. You should also practice replacing weak expressions with stronger ones in daily life. Instead of saying, "I don't know," you can say, "I am not sure. Let me check." Instead of saying, "It's okay," you can say, It is acceptable. These small upgrades slowly transform your speaking style. You begin to sound more professional and more controlled. My dear students, remember this very clearly. Vocabulary gives you precision. Questions give you depth. When you combine both, your communication becomes complete. You do not sound basic. You do not sound confused. You sound thoughtful, intelligent, and confident. So from today, start learning 1 or 2 new words daily. Use them in real sentences. And also practice asking better questions in your conversations. Do not settle for simple answers. Go deeper. Ask why. Ask how. Ask what else. Because when your words are precise and your questions are smart, your mind becomes sharper, your speech becomes stronger, and your presence becomes more powerful. This is how you build real communication skills. This is how you move closer to speaking like a lawyer. Chapter 6. My dear students, now we have reached the final and most powerful stage of your transformation. And this is where everything comes together. In this chapter, we will talk about confident body language and speaking with purpose. You have already learned how to build clear sentences, how to control your tone, how to think logically, and how to use smart vocabulary in questions. But if you do not carry yourself with confidence, and if your speech has no purpose, then your communication will still feel incomplete. Lawyers understand this very well. They know that communication is not only about words. It is also about presence, intention, and control. Let us start with something very simple but very important. Before you even speak a single word, people are already judging your confidence based on your body language. The way you stand, the way you walk, the way you sit, and the way you look at others all send silent messages. If your body looks nervous, your message will also feel weak. But if your body looks calm and steady, your message will automatically feel strong. This is why lawyers always maintain a strong posture. They stand straight. They keep their shoulders relaxed. They avoid unnecessary movements. Their body shows control even before their voice begins. Now let us talk about posture in more detail. A confident posture is simple. Stand straight but not stiff. Keep your back aligned. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Do not slouch. Do not lean too much. When you sit, sit in a balanced position. Do not collapse your body or hide yourself. A strong posture shows that you are present, alert, and ready. It sends a message of confidence without saying a single word. This is the first step in speaking like a lawyer. Next comes eye contact. Eye contact is one of the most powerful tools in communication. When you look at someone while speaking, it shows honesty and confidence. It shows that you are not afraid. It shows that you believe in your words. Lawyers use eye contact carefully. They do not stare aggressively, but they also do not avoid looking at people. They maintain a natural and steady eye connection. This creates trust. When people feel your eye contact, they feel your presence more strongly. Now let us talk about hand movements and gestures. Many learners make the mistake of moving their hands too much or too randomly. This creates distraction and reduces clarity. On the other hand, some people do not move their hands at all, which makes them look stiff and nervous. Lawyers use balanced gestures. Their hand movements are controlled and meaningful. They use gestures to support their points, not to distract from them. You should also practice this balance. Keep your gestures natural, calm, and purposeful. Another very important part of body language is avoiding nervous habits. These include things like playing with your fingers, touching your face repeatedly, looking down constantly, or shifting your body too much. These small habits reduce your confidence in the eyes of others. Lawyers avoid these behaviors because they weaken their presence. You should become aware of your own habits and slowly remove them. Awareness is the first step to improvement. Now we come to the most powerful part of this chapter, and that is speaking with purpose. Many people speak without thinking why they are speaking. They talk just to fill silence. They talk just to respond. They talk without direction. But lawyers never speak without purpose. Every sentence they say has a reason. Every word they use has intention. They are always aware of what they want to achieve with their speech. Speaking with purpose means asking yourself one simple question before you speak. What is my goal? Do I want to explain something? Do I want to convince someone? Do I want to share information? When you know your purpose, your speech becomes focused. You stop adding unnecessary details. You stop going off topic. You stay on track. This makes your communication powerful and effective. Let me give you a simple example. If your purpose is to explain a problem, then you should focus only on the problem and its cause. If your purpose is to give a solution, then you should focus only on the solution and its benefit. When you are clear about your purpose, your message becomes clean and direct. Lawyers always follow this method. They never speak randomly. They always speak with direction. Another important point is that purpose gives confidence. When you know why you are speaking, you do not feel lost. You feel in control. You feel prepared. This reduces fear and hesitation. Many students feel nervous because they do not know where their speech is going. But when you speak with purpose, your mind becomes stable. You know your direction. You know your message. And you know your conclusion. Now let us connect everything together. Imagine you have strong posture. You maintain eye contact. You use controlled gestures. You speak slowly and clearly. And you speak with a clear purpose. What will happen? Your entire personality will change. You will not only sound confident, you will appear confident. People will take you seriously. People will listen to you carefully. And people will respect your communication. My dear students, this is the final lesson of speaking like a lawyer. But it is also the most important lesson. Because communication is not only about words, it is about presence and intention. When your body language is strong and your purpose is clear, your words become more powerful automatically. So from today, practice standing with confidence. Practice maintaining eye contact. Practice using controlled gestures. And most importantly, always speak with purpose. Do not speak randomly. Do not speak without direction. Think before you speak. Know your goal. and then express your ideas clearly and calmly. Because when your body shows confidence and your speech carries purpose, you do not just speak, you influence. You do not just talk, you communicate with power. And this is how you complete your journey of speaking like a lawyer.